Hello again, and welcome to the last video in a series on doing regression analysis with one metric predictor variable and one binary predictor variable. In this last video we'll be making a non-parallel lines fitted lines plot. So from the data we were using before, Madison apartment rents from the late summer of 2010 versus size and location, only two locations, south and west. We notice that as size increases, so does rent at a essentially linear rate, and the south side apartments, which is slightly lower than the west side apartments, given the same size but not statistically different. So our last possibility was maybe these groupings are going up at different rates rather than parallel rates. So we created an interaction term and ran a non-parallel lines regression. So here was the output for that, but we discovered that the interaction term is not significant at all. So we'll continue with this analysis though and make the graph, and we should see that once we plot these two non-parallel lines in the graph, they should look essentially parallel. Well, they must, because the slope coefficients are almost identical. Okay, so the fastest way to do this is if you already created a graph, like for the parallel line situation, like this one, then let's just copy that and paste it in our new worksheet here of the non-parallel lines regression, and I'm going to just delete these two lines. I'm going to click on the graph, click on the line, delete. Click on the other line and delete. And now I want to add a trend line. This is the easy way. As long as you're not trying to do parallel lines, if you're letting each group have its own line rather than constraining a parallel lines fit on it, you can just merely right click on any group of points. Right click on, okay, it's not working very good. Right click on a group of points, add trend line, and we could see the equation. I'll show the equation, and you'll notice it matches exactly this equation that we found for the west side apartments down here. So, except this is rounded to 3 decimal places and this is 4, but it really is a match. Now let's delete that equation, and then let's add a trend line for the south side points. Right click, add trend line, and display the equation. So that's the slightly lower line, and you can see that again it matches what we earlier found from the regression output, and it always will. Okay, and again these two lines are essentially parallel. They look parallel, and that tiny difference in slope of 0.005 is so tiny that our eyes can't even detect a difference in the slope. So again, there's evidence that we don't need the interaction term. We should go with a reduced model, either the parallel lines or maybe one straight line to model all the data, and don't take account of south or west at all. If you wanted to, you could format these lines by right-clicking on them, format trend line, changing the color, changing the style, however you prefer. Okay, that's it for our series on one binary, one metric predictor.